When it comes to popular music, the major scale is ubiquitous. I mean, it's everywhere. Whether you're talking about classic rock, R&B, even reggae and modern alternative, it's there and it's everywhere, whether you notice it or not. In some cases, the major scale is very, very straightforward and right in front of your face from the very beginning. In other cases, you're going to hear it and not think of it as a major scale. You might be thinking, is this a mode that I'm playing? But I myself am a major proponent in thinking that the major scale should be the first, if not one of the first scales that any guitarist should learn, and that's for many reasons. I mean, most, if not all, modern guitar scales are based off of the major scale or some permutation of the major scale. But we all learn the minor pentatonic scale to begin with, and that's all good. It's very easy to learn, and it's very easy to put in use right away. So learn that one first, but remember, the major scale is probably more important than that. So I'll show you exactly why. Today we're going to be using 3 different songs across 3 different genres of music and show you exactly how the major scale is applied to these songs and break down what is going on in these. So grab your guitar and let's get ready to get at it. My name is Keith. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so the first song we're going to be looking at today is by Bob Marley. All right, so this song you're probably already really familiar with, and if you're familiar with it, you probably already know how to play it, but let's just go ahead and take a look at it and break it down. You know the song by the first few notes I play. So that's Redemption Song by Bob Marley. And what I just played there was the intro, and that intro is a straight G major scale. So I'll go ahead and throw up a chart for the G major scale in open position, and let's just run through it really slowly here. So we're going to start on the root, which is a G on the 3rd fret of the E string. Then open A, then you hit the 2nd fret of the A string, then the 3rd fret, open D, 2nd fret of the D, and then the 4th fret of the D, then open G, that'll take us to our first octave. And all the notes that comprise the intro to Redemption Song are right there. Now, while we're down here, let's just run through the open position G major pentatonic scale. That is very familiar, at least it should be very familiar, because if you look at the chart here, it looks just like the E minor pentatonic scale. So it isn't the E minor pentatonic scale because we're starting on the G, the 3rd fret of the E string, instead of the open E. So just think about it that way. If I want to play a G major pentatonic scale in open position, think of the E minor pentatonic scale, but instead of starting with the open E, we're starting right here on the root note, the G. And that's all there is to that. Now, the second example that we're going to be looking at today is by The Temptations, and you already know the song, I know it. That is My Girl, and that right there, that intro is just running through the C major pentatonic scale. That's all there is. So let's go ahead and throw the C major pentatonic scale up here, and I'll play along with it here. So it's the 3rd fret of the A string. That's a C. That's our root note. And then it's an open D, second fret of the D, and then open G, second fret of the G, and then you end on the first fret of the B. Easy way to remember that is just to hold down that C chord, and the only finger you're going to be moving is your middle finger between the D and the G strings. You learn that, then you know the C major pentatonic scale in open position, and by proxy, you know how to play the intro to My Girl. All right, so we got the two easy ones out of the way. Let's move on to a little more uncommon song by Bubble Puppy. Now, I gotta admit, I have not heard of this song until probably Monday of the week that I'm recording this. Today's Saturday. So I'd never heard of it before. It's a really cool song. That's what I was playing in the intro. So 2 Yards is the name of the guy that recommended this song to me, and I'm taking my stab at what I think is going on here. So let's put our distortion on, hop down to the fretboard, and I'll give my take on what I think is going on with the solo in the song, which happens to be a bunch of major pentatonic scales. Okay, so this song, Hot Smokin' Sassafrass, comprises of a few different chords, so let's go ahead and run through what the chords are. It will help us a little bit into figuring out what's going on with the solo. So the chords that we're playing are a G power chord, an A, an F, and then a C. The C is where we go. All right, so after the first verse, there's this little solo. I'll go ahead and play that little brief solo that he has here, and then we'll run through and dig into what exactly is going on. That is what is going on in that little solo there. It might seem like a lot, and it really is a lot, but if we think about it and distill it down to what I think is going on here, which is the G major scale, think about, we're playing a G in the verse, and we're doing a solo here in this vicinity, which would be the equivalent to playing right here. So if we have the G major scale down here, and that's where we're starting, think about it down here. All right, now that I think that this is a G, let's run through the G major scale all the way down here, starting on that 15th fret. All the notes that I played in that little solo, except for one here and a couple across here, are in that G major scale. So he's adding a few different embellishments and things here, but for the most part, we're staying in that G major scale structure. So again, if I start the G major scale, and then we look at all the notes that are inside of there, that is what he's playing. Sounds really cool, I think. And the next section of that little solo, he's doing this guy. That is also all in the G major scale, except this little note here. But we'll go over that one here. So again, the G major scale would start right here. We'll start right here on the 15th fret. So we're looking at the A string. Those are the next set of notes that are on the A string for that scale. That's the beginning of it. So that's the 17th to the 15th. And then he's doing this weird thing right here. And that's in between. So that's the 16th fret of the A string. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a flat 5. Which I think we're getting into modes here, but I want to keep this not as complicated or as little as little complicated. I'm getting my words mixed up. I don't want this to be too complicated, so we're not going to go into modes here. So he is starting here, and then going to go to that flat fifth, and then we're still going to stay within the structure of the major scale when we're rolling up that whole little kind of run through here. All those notes are still in that scale. Still in that scale. Now, the one weird thing he does here, that guy right there, it's just there for fun. I don't know what that is other than just a chromatic walk up and back down, but we're starting and ending on that major scale. So that little section there, let's just call it a G major scale. Now, the actual guitar solo that is towards the, I guess, the second half of the song, that one, I believe, is a D. It's a D major pentatonic scale in diagonal form. I'm going to run through the very beginning of it and kind of explain what I think is going on there. So it's something like this. So that is what he's doing there. But if we think here, we're starting right here. This is our D chord. And if we roll up the D major pentatonic scale, but in diagonal form, that is all in that D major pentatonic scale in diagonal form for the beginning of that solo. Still within that D major pentatonic scale. And then that sounds like a nursery kind of song. So it's... Then he's kind of hanging right here on the 7th and the 9th frets of that G string and just... And then from there, he is kind of going back. So if we have that D major scale right there, this is still within it. And then he's just rolling down and back up the D major scale across that entire solo. So it's... So I kind of showed you just the very beginning and the very beginning of the solo, the actual big solo in there, but that's what I think is going on there. And when I first kind of heard it, I was like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this song. I'm not sure if I could even figure it out or even distill down what he was doing in that song. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, hey, that solo is in the key of D, and he's just running up the D major pentatonic scale in diagonal form up and down. So if you want to approximate something similar to that solo for that song, just use that D major scale up and down the fretboard, and you'll be able to find any note on there that is in that scale will fit into that song for that solo. So I really hope you thought that was helpful, and if you did, please like and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And special thanks to 2 Yards for recommending that song to me and racking my brain for a little bit. So there you go. All that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Thanks. Week.